Hey friends, it's Garry McLaughlin here from Success Mastermind Online. And today I want to talk about 3 ways you're making life harder than it has to be. The greatest step towards a life of simplicity is learning to let go. Imagine you had a ripe, juicy apple sitting at an otherwise empty table in front of you. You pick it up eagerly and you take a nibble and you begin to taste it. You already know how the apple should taste, and so when one is a bit more tart than you expect, you make a face, you feel a sense of disappointment, and you swallow it dissatisfied. Or perhaps the apple tastes exactly as you expected. Nothing special at all, so you swallow it without even pausing to enjoy its flavor, and you move on with your day. In the first scenario, the apple was disappointing because it didn't meet your expectations. In the second, it was too plain and unexciting because it met your expectations to a T. Do you see the irony here? It's either not good or not good enough. Now imagine you trying this. Eliminate your expectations of how the apple should taste. You don't know and you don't pretend to know because you haven't tried it. Instead, you're genuinely curious, impartial, and open to a variety of flavors. You taste it and you truly pay attention. You notice the juiciness, the grainy texture of the skin, the simultaneously sweet, tangy, and tart flavors swirling around your tongue, and all the other complex sensations that arise in your awareness as you chew. You didn't know how it would taste, but now you realize that it's brilliant. It's brand new because you've never tasted this apple before. Mindfulness practitioners often refer to this as the beginner's mind, but really it's just the outcome of a mindset free of needless expectations. The apple, of course, can be substituted for anything in life, any event, any task, any social interaction, any person, any meal, any thought that enters your mind, any time and any place. If you approach any of these expectations with how it should be, it will surely disappoint you in some way, or be too plain and unexciting to remember. And you'll just move on to the next disappointment or unexciting experience, and the next, and so on and so forth, until you've lived your entire life stuck in an endless cycle of things you barely like or barely even notice. But if you approach each event, task, social interaction without expectations, and you just see the event, task, or the social interaction at face value, then you'll truly see it. You will truly appreciate it for what it is, and you'll truly experience it like you've never experienced anything before because you haven't. This is the art of making life easier. So now that we've cleared the air a little, let's take a closer look at 3 of the most common ways people use expectations to make life harder than it has to be. Number 1, you procrastinate to avoid your expectations of problems. Let's say you've been putting off a big project at work because you're dreading doing it. Maybe it's difficult and you feel overwhelmed. It's a lot of hard work and you're expected to do lots of things you're perhaps not that good at. Maybe expecting mistakes, failures, and a lot of headaches. But in reality, you're the one giving yourself the headache. Realize this and let go of your expectations. This means that you don't know how this project will go. You will go into it with an open mind. Give it a try and see how it goes, as you learn from the experience, no matter how hard it goes. Honestly, you cannot find peace by avoiding life. Life spins and requires us to spin with it. So instead of avoiding what must be done, take every task and experience it as a challenge for growth. Either it will give you what you want or it will teach you what the next step is. And remember, finding peace in life does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, no challenges, and no hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things while remaining calm in your heart and your mind. A great book about this is called Tully's A New Earth. And number 2, you give up too soon when you realize things aren't really as easy as you expected. This is the flip side of the previous point, but again, expectations are getting in the way. The best things in life don't always come easy. Some level of difficulty is necessary. Avoiding this truth just makes it harder things harder. Deep down, you know this is true, and yet you've entered in a new endeavor with the expectation that you'll be amazed and you'll do it with ease. And when it's inevitable, harder than you thought it would be, you're less successful than you expected. You're disappointed and you're discouraged. So you lose motivation and you give up. Now imagine that you let go of this fantasy of how this endeavor will go and you're simply open to what emerges. You can just do it without worrying about what the outcome is. You can simply be in the moment with it. Then no matter how much it turns out on the first try, you'll learn what you need to know. The bottom line is that there's no shortcuts to any place worth going. Reality always rears its head in the end. And the truth about how ordinary people achieve immense happiness and incredible feats of success is that they step out of their comfort zones and they do the hard things that our more educated, affluent, and qualified counterparts don't have the courage, drive, or determination to do. So for your own sake, stop expecting everything to be easy and start doing necessary hard things today with an open mind. I guarantee you'll be blown away at just how remarkable really you are and how fast you can grow with it. Number 3, people hurt you because they don't behave the way you expected. This woman at work is driving you crazy because she's not doing her work the way she should, or maybe she's inconsiderate somehow. Your irrational state stems from an expectation of how this woman should act. She isn't acting according to this ideal in mind, so you suffer because of it. It's time they put aside the expectations that people will give up on your ideals and just be open to them. They'll behave imperfectly just as you will. Of course, accepting people as they are doesn't mean you do nothing. You can't let go of irritation, and you see how their difficulty and it is a teaching opportunity or an opportunity to help them, or take it to the next logical step, with no expectation that they'll love your lesson or follow it, but just with the intention of helping somebody and being proactive. And when your children behave badly, it's the same problem. They aren't behaving according to your ideal. Of course they're not. No child behaves ideally, just as no adult does. Do you behave ideally? I don't. I'm cranky and impolite when I'm tired. I'm not proud of this, but I struggle to be cheerful and considerate sometimes. Everyone does. Your children are struggling, and you can be compassionate and help them. That is, if you can let go of your expectations that they'll behave ideally, and they'll accept them as imperfect, beautiful beings who just want to be happy just like you. Yes, it may be hard to admit, but most of the problems we have with others don't really have much to do with them at all. Many of the problems that we think we have with them are subconsciously created in our own mind. Maybe they did something or touched one of our fears or insecurities, or maybe they didn't do something that we expected them to do. In any case, problems like these are not about the other person. They're about us. And that's okay. It simply means that these little predicaments will be easier to solve. We are, after all, in charge of our own decisions. We get to decide whether we want to keep our head cluttering with stressful expectations, or instead open our minds to the positive realities unfolding in front of us. All we really need is the willingness to look at things a little differently, letting go of what should be instead of focusing our energy on loving what is. Honesty, life is too short to spend at war with yourself. The biggest disappointments in our life are often the result of misplaced expectations. Letting go of needless expectations is your first step to happiness. Come from a mindset of peace and acceptance. You can deal with almost anything and grow beyond it. Mastering the art of making life easier is not as easy as you would expect or fantasize. It takes practice. It means learning to be mindful of when you have these expectations, ideals, and harmful fantasies. It means learning to see irritations, anger, sadness, anxieties, and mood swings as signals of the expectations you have and you didn't notice. And it means of letting them go. Again, that takes a lot of practice, but that's the joy of it. You drop the expectation that you'll be perfect at this practice. You just try it. You'll learn from trying. You'll grow and improve gradually, step by step, and each moment along the way is a miracle to be noticed, appreciated, and enjoyed. So I want to hear back from you and leave your comments in below this video, on this page, on this post, wherever you're seeing this. How have you been making your life harder than it has been? What expectations sometimes get in your way? Leave us a comment below and share us with your thoughts. If you'd like to get a free gift, you can do that by visiting our website at Success Mastermind Online. My name is Garry McLaughlin, and thank you for listening, and leave us your comments. Take care.